welcome you all back to my YouTube channel, and in this video we are going to talk about hydrocarbons. We are going to understand alkanes and alkenes. So what is an hydrocarbon? An hydrocarbon is a compound that contains hydrogen and carbon atoms only. This is what you need to know and understand. So an hydrocarbon will contain hydrogen and carbon atoms only. So these are things that you need to understand. So we've got two types of hydrocarbons. So we've got two types. So two types of hydrocarbons. We've got two types of hydrocarbons. So we've got two types of hydrocarbons that you need to know. So we've got two types of hydrocarbons. The first one that we get to have is called saturated hydrocarbons. It is called saturated hydrocarbons. So it is called saturated hydrocarbon. So what is a saturated hydrocarbon? A saturated hydrocarbon, this is an hydrocarbon with a single bond. For example, we've got alkenes. So an alkane is an example of a saturated hydrocarbon. We also have the second type. So the second type is called unsaturated. Second type is called unsaturated hydrocarbon. This is the second type that we have. It is called unsaturated hydrocarbon. What is an example of unsaturated hydrocarbons? So unsaturated hydrocarbons, these have a double bond. Example, we've got alkenes. Example is an alkene. So these have got a what? We are saying that they have got a double bond. They have got a double bond between carbon to carbon. But saturated hydrocarbons, these have a single bond. They have a single bond. So they have a single bond between carbon to carbon. This is what you need to know and understand. So before we go any further, let us now look at these two, alkanes and alkenes. So we are going to start with the alkanes. We are going to start with the alkanes. This is the first thing that we are going to start with. So what is an alkane? What is an alkane? An alkane is, so an alkane, this is the definition of an alkane, is a hydrocarbon. So this is an hydrocarbon with a single bond. An hydrocarbon with a single what? With a single bond. So all alkanes have got a single bond. Apart from knowing this, you also need to know their what? The general formula of alkanes. So the general formula, this is the general formula. The general formula is what? The general formula is CnH2n plus 2. This is the general formula of alkanes. So you are going to understand deeper even as we get to move. And if you are new to this YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe even as we get to learn together all these stuffs. I'm making this subject very simple, chemistry, so that we understand everything. So we need to talk about the members. We need to talk about the members. So now, since we know this general formula, there is a simple part that I want you to understand. There is just a simple part that I want you to understand. So if the first member starts with what? The first member should start with this word. Have you seen? It is what? Meth. So it should start with meth. If we are talking about the second member, so these are things that you need to know. The second member should start with this. This is what? F. It should start with that one. The third one, it should start with what? The third one, it should start with what? It should start with prop, like this. This is what you need to know and understand. We've got the fourth one. So what's the fourth one? The fourth one should start with what? But. This is but. You are going to understand all these. We've got the fifth one. The fifth one should start with what? Paint. Then we've got the sixth one. The sixth one should start with what? X, like that. So these are what you need to know and understand. So this means that the first member, when an alkane is having one carbon, let me say hydrocarbons. So if we've got one carbon, the name should start with meth. Be it an alkane or alkenes. So one carbon should start with meth. Two carbons should start with eth. Three carbons should start with prop. Four carbons should start with but. Five carbons should start with paint. Then six carbons, the name should start with X. This is what you need to know. So apart from knowing this, what you need to know and understand is that all alkanes, have you seen the name? Just the name itself can tell you, like alkanes. So these end with, they end with this weight, they end with this weight. All alkanes end with that weight. So when we get this one, we put that one, we make the first member. Since this is the first position, so we make the first member. So let us now look at members of alkanes. Let us look at members of alkanes. So we look at members of alkanes. Let us look at the members. We look at members of alkanes. So members, we look at members of alkanes. We look at the members of alkanes. What is the first member of an alkane? The first member of an alkane, it is called methane. So have you seen meth? Then I put this word, it is called methane. So since methane is the first member of alkanes, so this one has got one carbon. You know the general formula, so even as we are writing this, don't forget the general formula. What's the general formula? CnH2n plus 2. Let's not forget this one. So first member, meaning the carbon N there is what? 1. So this one, the methane, meaning the carbon is 1. So it means N is equal to what? N is equal to 1. So on this formula, where there is N, you put 1. So let's put 1. CH, there we put 1. 2 times 1, 2 plus 1, 4. So we've got this chemical formula. So this is how we write methane. This is what you need to know and understand. So now, what if we want to write the structural formula? So one carbon surrounded by 4 atoms of hydrogen. So like this, hydrogen this side, hydrogen this side, hydrogen this side, hydrogen this other side. So this is how we write methane. This is the chemical formula. This is the structural formula. So this is what you need to know and understand. Make sure you understand this part, you get this part correctly, so that each and every question that may come in an exam, you understand it. We move to the second one. What's the second one? I told you it starts with what? F. So we put A-N-E because this is an alkane, should end with A-N-E. So this is ethane. It is on the second position, meaning N is equal to what? N is equal to 2. So you put your general formula. Don't forget the general formula. We'll be using this general formula. Where there is N there, we put 2. So it is going to be C2H what? So I'm referring to the general formula, which is N there, it is 2. 2 times 2, 4. Plus 2, 6. So it is what? A 6 there. So this is the chemical formula for ethane. Then what's the structural formula? How is the structural formula going to be? So the structural formula, C, how many C's? 2 carbons. So another carbon this side, 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 like this. So carbon should be surrounded by 4 bonds. Have you seen like these 4 bonds? If you check, this carbon is surrounded by 4 bonds. This carbon is surrounded by 4 bonds. So what is a bond? I've used this word, a bond. A bond is a force of attraction between atoms. So carbon should have these 4 bonds. And we know that all alkanes have got a single bond. That's why we are able to see all these single bonds. So this is how you need to write ethane. Let us now move to the third one, the third member. So we move to the third member. So I'm going to end with the third member. So make sure you understand. I said that it should start with what? Prop. Since you are under alkanes, you put ANE. It becomes propane. Propane is on position what? 3. So N there, it is what? N3. You say H. H what? H. H what? So you go back to this. So this thing should be in your head. You say 2 times 3, 6, plus 2, 8. So you put 8 here. So you need to have what? 8 there. This is what you need to do. So make sure you understand this. You get this part very well. Then you write the what? Structural formula. How do you write the structural formula? So how many atoms of carbon? Here, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Surrounded by how many atoms of hydrogen? 8. So you start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Have you seen there are 8? This is how you need to write it. So this is the structural formula. This is the what? The structural formula. Now what if you are told to write the condensed formula? The condensed formula. This is how you write the condensed formula. You check this carbon. Is having how many atoms? 1, 2, 3. So it's what? CH3. You move to the next carbon here. It's having how many atoms of hydrogen? Just 2. So it's a CH2. You move to this one. Having how many hydrogen? 1, 2, 3. So it's CH3. So this is the condensed what? Condensed formula of propane. Just one and the same. So this one and that one there, these two are just the same. This one is the condensed one, that one is the general one. We move here. So how can you write the condensed formula now? How can you write the condensed formula of this one? So this one, C, it's having how many hydrogens? 1, 2, 3. So it's CH3. This one, it's having how many? 3. So it's 3H3. This is the condensed formula of what? Ethane. So this is what you need to know and understand. Hope you are able to get this. Hope you are able to understand. So if you were told to write the fourth member, this is your work. The fourth member is what? I said you should start with what? But. You put ANE. It becomes what? Butane. So the fourth member is butane. N there on the formula. Which formula? This formula. This is the formula we are using. So N is what? 4. You put a 4 there. What is the fifth member? The fifth member is what? Pentane. So this is pentane. How do you complete pentane? Pentane 5. So N is what? 5. There you put 5. Then you write what has remained. So this is the work that you need to do. This is what you need to get and understand. Let us now move to alkenes, which are unsaturated hydrocarbons. So we move to, let me lab this part. So we'll lab this part. So we move to the next one that we are going to talk about. The next one, so this is a D alkenes. So we are going to talk about alkenes. What are alkenes? So alkenes, these are hydrocarbons. These are hydrocarbons. These are hydrocarbons with a double bond. So these have a what? A double bond. Between carbon to carbon like this, they've got a what? A double bond. This is how we get to know that this is an alkene. Then they end with what? E and E, like this. They end with this word. So all alkenes are going to end with this word. They are all going to end with that word. So that's what you need to know and understand. Then they also have a general formula. So what's the general formula? They have a general formula also. So even these have a general formula. What's the general formula? CnH2n, like this. This is the general formula that we get to talk about. This is the general formula that you need to know. So this general formula is for what? Alkenes. So we go to the first member. So we go to members. Let us look at members. We look at members. Members of what? Alkenes. So since we are saying that we are talking about members of alkenes, then we said that alkenes have a what? A double bond. So meaning that one that is having one carbon cannot make a double bond, because the double bond should be between carbon and two carbon. Now, if you are just having one carbon, how can you make a double bond? It cannot exist. Meaning that the first member of alkenes, so the first member here, it is what? It is that one which was the second one, which is what? So it is F. Since we are under alkene, we are going to say ethene. So ethene is the first member. Then you know that under ethene, N should be equal to what? Should be equal to 2. Anything that is starting with this word, N should be equal to 2. So when you put 2 there, you say N2H. H what? 2 times 2. It is what? 2 times 2. It is 4. So this one is having a 4 there. So this is what? This is alkene. This is ethene to be specific. So since this is ethene, what we are going to do now is that how can you write the structural formula of that one? How can you write the structural formula? So 2 carbons, I've said a double bond. So we put a double bond there. How many hydrogens? 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. You can put them this side as long as they are here. How many? There are 4. And I said that carbon should be bonded to 4 bonds. If you check this carbon, let's count the bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Even same applies to this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I ask you a question, what is the first member of alkenes? The first member of alkenes is what? Ethene. This is the first member. Let us go to the second member. So let us look at the second member. The second member is what? Prop. So it is going to be propene. Then propene means that N should be equal to what? Should be equal to 3. So anything that's starting with prop, N should be equal to 3. So on the general formula that we have, what's the general formula? This is the general formula. So where there is N, we put 3. What are we going to have? So what are we going to have? So we are going to have C3H. 2 times 3, 6. How many carbons? We are just going to have 3 carbons. So I'm going to say carbon here, carbon there. Then I put a double bond here. This is where I'm going to put the double bond. The double bond is here. So you cannot put two double bonds, you just put one double bond. So how many hydrogens? 6. So this one, you check this one. This is 1. Having how many bonds? It's just having 1. So it needs 3. 1, 2, 3. I put 3 like this. Have you seen? Like this. So this one, let me write it here. It's C3H6 like this. I go to this one. This one is having how many bonds? 1, 2, 3. So I need to put what? Just 1 here. It is 4. This one is having 2. So I put another 2 like this, like this. How many bonds? How many hydrogen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 there. So this is what you need to do. This is what you need to get. Hope you are able to understand this. You are able to follow smoothly. So we don't put this anyhow. We follow a certain order. More especially on the alkenes. Propene, this is how you need to do it. So this one can go there. There is no problem. As long as you understand that carbon should be bonded to 4 bonds. Let us look at another last one. So we go to the 4th one. So we go to something that is having n, which is equal to 4. So n equal to 4, the 4th. So it is the what? The 3rd one. So it is what? Butane. Butane. You know that under butane, n is equal to what? N is equal to 4. So on the general formula that you have, this is what? This is the general formula. You say C4H what? H8. This is what you are going to do. This is what you need to. You know that this one should be number 4. But since the first one we don't have, which is that one that starts with meth, we don't have. So we need to start with earth. So earth is the second one. But here, it is the first one. So that's why the numbers are some kind of disturbed. But this is what you need to get from here. So butane is the 3rd member of alkenes. So it is like this. How can you write the structural formula? How is the structural formula? You say C. How many C is 4? 2, 3, 4, like this. Then you know that you must have a double bond anywhere. So you can put it anywhere. So let us put it here. Let's put it here. You check this carbon. It's having how many bonds? 1. And I've told you that it must have 4 bonds. So 1, it needs 3. 1, 2, 3. Like this. I move to this one. How many bonds is it having? It's having 1, 2, 3. So it just needs 1. You go to this one. How many bonds? 1, 2, 3. Just needs 1. You go to this one. How many bonds are there? It's having 1. It needs 3. 1, 2, 3. Like that. Have you seen? Like that. So this is the structural formula. These you can put them on top. There is no problem. So if you count how many hydrogen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like this. This is what we need to get, and this is what you need to understand. So if you are taught to write a condensed formula of this one, so you write it the way it is. This is what? Carbon. Having how many? 3. So 3 what? HCH3. This one is having 1. So it's just CH. Also this one is what? CH. Then that one is CH3. So this is the what? This is the condensed formula. Just one and the same. So if you decide the double bond to be here, which means the condensed formula will be written differently. So this is how we get to know this. This is how you need to understand alkanes and alkenes. So this is under hydrocarbons. So I want you to write this one. This is part of your work. Practice through this one. practice through this one. Thank you so much. And I do offer tuitions, so you can call me on WhatsApp or text me. This is my number, so you can contact me on this line. Then I'll be able to help you, guide you in mathematics, chemistry, and physics. I'm able to help you get a distinction. If you're a GC candidate, grade 10, 11, or 12, I can help you. This is my number. And don't forget to like this video and share this video. This is 0971066747. This is my number. Thank you so much.